Hi, welcome to the next instalment of these videos. I've just come back from the Red Corner Gym, which is one of my favourite places in the whole world. Fantastic place. I was just training with a good friend of mine, Aaron Clamp. We were doing a fitness session. I'm convinced he was trying to kill me. So if I still sound out of breath, it's because I am. I'm still recovering. Great session though. But while I was there, a few people mentioned that they'd watched the clip from yesterday and they'd really enjoyed it, about how our thoughts control our feelings, and our feelings then control our behaviour. I don't know if you remember, but we said the equation: thoughts, feelings, behaviour. But there's something that I wanted to add to that. I've studied lots of different therapies. When I was doing, I learnt so much from my journey into the martial arts world. When I was doing martial arts, I was always encouraged by my main mentor, Jeff Thompson, to go and study lots of different arts, which is what I did. So many different arts, too many to go into, but my theory was that study all these different arts and take what I consider to be the best out of each one. It's just my opinion. Other people might not agree with it, but I think everybody's individual on this. For me, I always say to people, learn the rules and then break the rules. But you've got to learn the rules first. You've got to go in there, be respectful, and take the best techniques from each system, and eventually I've got my own way of working, which is why I put the Real Combat system together with Matty Evans. We've got our own way of working. It's different. There'd be bits of everything in there. It's the same within the world of therapy. There's so many different types of therapy, and I've tried to study as many as I can. In one of them, CBT, which is really popular at the moment, the CBT stands for Cognitive Behavioural Therapy. They talk about, we were talking about thoughts yesterday, they talk about a thing called ANT, A-N-T, which is basically, it stands for automatic negative thoughts. So basically what they're saying is that your first thought is really, really hard to stop. It's almost automatic. It'll just come in, bang, in a split second, fraction of a second. It's automatic. So it's an automatic, normally negative thought. Okay? It's very hard to stop. But the thing that everybody agrees on, you can work on the second, third, fourth, fifth thoughts, and after that you can start controlling your thoughts. But like I said, sometimes it's really important to bear this in mind, that the first thoughts are really hard to stop. They're almost instant. You see somebody that you don't like, it triggers that, you have a thought, comes in straight into your head, but you can counter that thought with the second, third, fourth and fifth thoughts. They take time, so you can start to change your thoughts around. I just wanted to make that, because I think that's really important. And when we're talking about thoughts as well, controlling our thoughts goes back thousands of years. They mention it in the Bible, the Old Testament. They mention it in the Bhagavad Gita, or any Course in Miracles, all the big books. If you listen to anybody like Anthony Robbins, Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, they all talk about how important controlling our thoughts are. So they really are. I've been looking at a woman recently, her work, Byron Katie, which I found really interesting. It's basically another form of CBT, the same as I was reading, what's it called, The Chimp Paradox, which is I really enjoyed, a really good book. But when I look at these books, obviously coming from a therapy background, in the Chimp Paradox, I saw a lot of what they call transactional analysis, which is all about parent, adult, child, which we can look at another time, which is a fantastic therapy. I think what he's done in the Chimp Paradox is he's taken that and made his own version of it, which is fine. If people can relate to it and it helps people, that's brilliant. But it's the same as CBT and what Byron Katie's doing, and she does a thing called the 4-step turnaround. So, and I use this a lot when I'm working with people. So someone will tell me a thought or a belief they're having. Could be anything. I'm trying to think of an example here. So say, for example, I don't know, in a relationship, someone will say to me, my husband doesn't love me. And I'll say, how come your husband, why do you think your husband doesn't love you anymore? Because he doesn't give me any attention, he sits there and he watches television. So, my next step might be, I'm just thinking this off the top of my head as well, It's probably not the best example, so I'll say to her, but so your husband, you know, doesn't give you as much attention as he used to, does that mean that he doesn't love you? Well, yes, it does. How do you know? Is that, you know, can you be 100% certain that he doesn't love you? And quite often people will come back and go, you know, sometimes people will stick with it. I'll keep questioning it. So really what I'm doing here is getting them to question the belief, question the thought. Is it true? How do you know it's true? Is it 100% true? Can you guarantee that it's true? And then the second question I'll ask them is, how do you feel when you've got that thought, when you feel that your husband doesn't love you? Well, I feel angry, I feel sad, I want to have a go at him, you know, I want revenge, I want to get him back. Yeah, and they're all negative feelings, all negative thoughts, feelings, and like we said before, can lead to negative behaviours. So then I'll ask them, well, how would you feel without that thought? And quite often they'll say, well, if I didn't have that thought, I'd be happy, content, you know, I'd actually love him. Okay, so then we do the fourth step. The fourth step is, let's turn that thought around. You know, what's the opposite to your husband not loving you? Well, actually, he does love me. Okay, and another one, let's give me another one. So who doesn't love you? And quite often, this is where it might get a bit emotional, they'll actually realise that it's not their husband that doesn't love them, it's them that doesn't love themselves. So it's basic, that's what's called a four-step turnaround. We can turn most beliefs and most perceptions all the way around. And my own belief is that pretty much all of it comes back to us. You know, we need to start looking inside rather than looking outside and blaming other people. It's not that other people are not wrong, they don't do things wrong, because obviously they do. But the first step is to look at inside ourselves. Why is this bothering me? Why is this person's behaviour bothering me? What's it touching in me? Work inside first, and then we can start working out. I hope this makes sense. If not, like I've said before, feel free to ask me any questions. I'll do my best to answer them. Some people have already asked me if I can talk about certain topics, which I'm happy to do. Like I said, I want to keep these sort of videos random, and whatever comes into my head, just go with it. So thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.